A very good day to all of you. In the lesson today, we are going to talk about another topic in academic reading, which is differentiating facts from opinions. Um, Sometimes we also call it as distinguishing facts from opinions. What about it? Um, Differentiating facts from opinions is a skill in reading that is quite important, that is crucial for us to be able to be an independent reader, someone who can think critically when reading, so that will not be cheated, will not be manipulated. So normally in newspapers, for example, and in other forms of news like media, TV, magazines or articles or uh, opinions in newspapers, sometimes the journalists or the authors, they would um, present their own opinions as factual information, um, to change the way people think and also to manipulate how we think about something. So it is their opinion, but they make it look like a factual information. So when we think it is a fact, we tend to believe it more. So we tend to believe factual information more than opinions. Sometimes when newspaper they want to downgrade something, some people, although those people talk about factual information, they would try to present those facts to make it look like an opinion. So, to manipulate the way people think, the way the readers think, so that they will not take it seriously because they think it is just an opinion, but it is actually a fact, a factual information. So, first, let us take a look at the definition. What is fact? So, a factual information or a fact is generally refers to something that is true and can be verified. So that is the keyword. When it is a fact, it can be verified. It can be tested. You can test whether it is true or not true. So opinion is just the opposite. So a fact is something that can be proven to be true, but an opinion refers to someone's belief, someone's assumption about something. So it is a personal belief. It is your opinion about something. Can be true, can also be not true. It relates to how someone feels about something. Um, so people might agree or might disagree with your opinion because they cannot prove it or they cannot disapprove it. So this is an opinion. For example, when you say she looks beautiful, when you say she looks beautiful, is that a fact or an opinion? Can you verify that? Can you test that? Or can you not? Um, so when you say she looks beautiful, it is actually an opinion because to you she is beautiful. To other people's eyes, she might not be that beautiful. So that is an opinion you cannot verify. But when you say, for example, 20 people um, died yesterday from coronavirus. So that is a factual information. That is a fact because you can test, you can Google, you can see the statistic, you can take a look at the data. So you can verify the information. So that is a fact. So we come to the question, why are fact and opinion so important? Um, so because of the reason that have been mentioned just now, because the ability for us to be able to distinguish, to differentiate between fact and opinion, we'll take a look at some examples later, will help us to develop our critical thinking skills. So when we read, we cannot just simply read. We have to be critical so that we will not be cheated. The way we think will not be manipulated. So that is very important. Um, so newspapers, politicians, they like to manipulate us. So we need to be smart. So one way to be smart is to know the difference between facts and opinions. So we need to be analytical. So we need to think critically when we read, also when we listen. So normally, if we read a news in the newspaper, normally fact and opinion are often blended or woven together in the writing or in the speeches if it is a speech. Therefore, it is important, it is imperative for us to be able to see what is true, what is not true. So, what is really true and what is just an opinion or assumption. So, what is true from what is just a belief. If we want to think critically, so whether on the news, in advertising, or in a history book, differentiating between fact and opinion is important for us to be an autonomous person. Autonomous person means someone who can think on our own. So we don't just simply read and we believe, but we read, we think about it, we say, oh, this is not true, this is just an assumption, it is not a factual information, so I don't really have to believe in that. So that is what we need to do so that people cannot manipulate us. Now let us take a look at some examples of facts versus opinion. So let us take a look at facts first. So the earth is round. So that is a factual information because we can verify, we can test. Um, the 2010 World Cup took place in South Africa. That is not an opinion because you can test, you can check, you can Google, you can see the pictures. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So that is when someone tells you water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So that is not an opinion. That is not what that person thinks. That is factual information because you can verify, you can test, you can check the temperature of boiling water. What about opinions? Opinions, normally when you use words like I think, I believe, it is assumed that London is the best city in the world. Um, is that a fact? Possibly no. It can be a fact if you have a statistic, data to prove as an evidence. But when you say London is the best city in the world, that is merely an assumption or your own opinion because to some other people, London might not be the best city. New York could be the best city in the world to some other people. Tokyo could be the best city in the world to some other people. So that is your opinion because you cannot verify, you cannot test, unless you have a statistic as an evidence. So, for example, the statistic says that in terms of transportation, London is the best city in the world. because it has um, best transportation network or coverage around the city. So that could be your evidence. So in that sense, that is a factual information. So unless you have an evidence, it is an opinion. It is hot today. It is hot today is your opinion because to some other people, today might not be that hot. But when you say it is 30 degrees Celsius today, that is a factual information. It is not an opinion because you can test, you can verify, you can take out your thermometer and measure the temperature. I think crabs are delicious. So this is an opinion because to you crabs are delicious, but to some other people they might not find it delicious as you do. So those are some examples of facts and opinions. Now let us take a look at um, a more serious example of why facts differentiating facts and opinions is important. So here we have a chart. So this is a chart of countries with COVID-19 cases outside China. As you can see in the chart here, Singapore is with the highest number of COVID-19 cases, and followed by Thailand, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, and the least number would be France with only 11. So France has the lowest number of COVID-19, while Singapore has the highest number of COVID-19. So newspaper, they can play with news to manipulate the way we think. Um, so we'll take a look at the examples. So this is a factual information because we have the statistics. So this is a fact. It is a statistic. We have the data. It is not an opinion. Um, so let us see. How can this be an opinion? Singapore has the highest number of COVID-19 cases outside China, while France has the lowest number of COVID-19 cases outside China. So both of these statements are correct because Singapore is the highest and France is the lowest, which is true. So now let us take a look at the next example. France has the lowest cases of COVID-19 than many other countries. Is that true? Yes, it is true. It is a factual information. It is a fact. Therefore, France's healthcare system is much better. So what do you think about the second part of the sentence? Therefore, France's healthcare system is much better. Is that a fact or is that an opinion? So think carefully. That is actually an opinion because there could be many other reasons why France has the lowest cases of COVID-19 other than many other countries. Maybe because France is located far, far away from China, so that is why it has the lowest number. So Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, they are all closer to China as compared to France, which is far away in the European continent. So basically, the second part of the sentence here is merely an opinion of the author, not a factual information. So newspapers, for example, sometimes if they want to praise France, so they like France very much, they want to praise France for being very great, so they might use factual information and blend their opinion. So people will think of this as a factual information, where only the first statement is the factual information, but the second is only an assumption. So you'll have to be careful when you read so that you won't blindly believe in what is written. Um, Another example, Singapore has the highest cases of COVID 19, suggesting the country's lack of experience in handling pandemic. Is that true? So which is fact, which is opinion? Singapore has the highest cases of COVID 19. So that is basically true because that is what is mentioned in the data here. Singapore has the highest number. So Singapore has the highest cases of COVID-19, which is true, suggesting that the country's lack of experience in handling pandemic. Is that true? Um, think about it. Is that a fact or just an opinion? It is just an opinion. It is basically a mere assumption. It is not necessarily true because there could be many other reasons. Maybe Singapore has the highest number because it is close to China. Maybe Singapore has the highest number because it is the most visited country in the world. Maybe Singapore has the highest number because it has a lot of foreigners living in the country or going into the country. So there could be many other reasons, but for us, perhaps this is just an example. Perhaps if a newspaper, for example, a news would like to downgrade Singapore, saying that Singapore is not very good, so they might put a factual information here, and then they put their assumption here, so that people will believe what they say more because people think this is a factual information, but this is basically just an assumption being put together with the factual evidence. So can you see the differences? So normally um, there are other ways for us to recognize fact and opinion. So normally we have signal words like the word confirms, the word discovered, the word according to, demonstrated. So those would suggest factual information, while claimed, view, argue, suspect would suggest opinion. Many years ago, many scientists um, suspect that the pyramid was built 3,000 years ago. So that is an opinion. But today, the investigation demonstrated that the pyramids were actually built 4,000 years ago. So you can see the difference between opinion and also factual information. So that is all about it. So we have talked about differentiating facts from opinions. Why do we have to learn how to differentiate facts from opinions? Because we want to be an independent reader. We do not want to be manipulated by politicians, by newspapers, by the media. So we want to be able to be a critical thinker so that we will not be cheated. So that is why distinguishing or differentiating facts from opinions is important. So that is all about the lesson today. I'll see you again in the other videos. Thank you.